Hi Leo, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your December 2021 love reading. Thank you to those of you who like, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And for those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's what I call the bridge and the gap spread. And the way it works is we'll look at the past energies, present energies, and future energies between you and your main love interest. Once we get through all that, we'll pull some oracle cards for some additional insight. That's where the bridging the gap dynamic comes into play. And as far as the decks being used, on the left side we have the Lover's Path Tarot. On the right side we have the Tarot Sexual Magic. And also keep in mind it's a general reading, so I'm going to be referring to the cards on the left as your energy and the cards on the right as the other person's. If you feel like it's the other way around in your situation, then definitely trust that. Alright, so with all that out of the way, we'll get started. Past energy on your side, we have the 10 of arrows. So this is actually Gemini energy here. And what I'm getting for some of you, what always stands out to me with the artwork in this card is we see the 9 arrows, which makes me think of the 9 of Swords energy. And then that 1 arrow makes me think of like the Ace of Swords, the way that they seem to have deliberately separated them. But what I'm getting with this more than anything could just be saying that you could have been going through a lot of anxiety, just a lot of things going through your mind at the time. And maybe as a result of that, there might have been some communication between you and this person where you might have suggested an ending. I see, the lightning bolts in the background as well, so it looks like it could have just been a stormy time for you in general. And due to that, you might have just felt like you didn't really have the energy to take on a relationship. But just how you went about it might not have come out the best way. That's kind of what I'm picking up on there. And timing-wise, I'm technically recording this right before we have the full moon eclipse in Taurus, but this could even point to that new moon energy that we had in Scorpio because it was opposite Uranus in Taurus. So that was a pretty intense energy. So that might have impacted you guys in that regard, but that's what I'm seeing there. All right, past energy on their side, we have the 3 of chalices. So that's Cancer energy and the moon. Technically, most people consider as Pisces energy, but of course, Cancer is ruled by the moon. So for some of you, it could just be as simple as saying that you're dealing with the Cancer. Now, for some of you, at the same time, Cancer represents your 12th house energy. So seeing these 2 cards together could just be saying that this person might have really had a lot of love for you, but for whatever reason, you might have had a little bit of difficulty with trusting that. So that could have been another dynamic at play too, right? It could just have been one of those things where they truly might have been coming across as sincere, but for whatever reason, you might have had your doubts and you might have pushed this person away, and there might have been some confusion on their part, like, okay, what happened, So that's one way I could see that energy playing out. Now, another way I could see it playing out too is that they might have had those feelings for you, those genuine feelings. 3 of Cups energy is definitely a positive energy, but then when it came to actually communicating that, they might have actually not been too good at getting those feelings across. So at the very least, looks like there's the potential for miscommunication on both sides in the past. Present energy on your side, we have the Prince of Staves, and that's Sagittarius energy, and we have Queen of Staves, which is Aries energy. So this I could see going a couple of different ways too. For some of you, could just be saying that maybe you've been still, for whatever reason, possibly because of what you've been going through, you might have been hesitant to jump into anything. So you might have almost ran away from love, if anything, right? With his back turned to the cards on that side. But it looks like there is a shift coming where you're actually going to be more open and receptive to it. Another way I could see this playing out too, especially if you guys were going through that 10 of Arrows energy, could just be saying that this represents your gradual growth and coming back to yourselves, because we see the Knight energy, or Prince as it's called in this deck, the Queen, and then the energy represented by your sign is the King. So could just be saying that you're getting to that progression, right, where maybe you're not quite back to being yourselves yet, but you're getting there. So that's what I'm seeing with that. And the present energy on their side, we have the Queen of Pentacles. So this is Capricorn energy here. And on the one hand, it could just be pointing to a shift in their energy too, right? So they might have been very open with the Cancerian energy. And now we have the Capricorn energy, which could be perceived as more closed off, at least on an emotional level. And also, if we look at the artwork, we see her back is turned to the cards on this side as well. And also, she's looking in the mirror, right? And if you think about that old saying, kissing someone's feet, could just be one of those things where now, if you do come back around, they might expect you to actually work for it, right? So that's what I'm seeing there. All right, future energy on your side, we have tradition. So this is the equivalent of the Hierophant card in traditional tarot, which is Taurus energy. And of course, like I was saying, I'm recording this just before that full moon eclipse in Taurus. So for some of you, could just be pointing to that, even though this is a December reading. But could just be pointing to the energy around that time that might make you want to turn this into a more formalized commitment. There still could be something about it that might seem a bit forbidden in some way as well, because I always point out with this card, there's the names Romeo and Juliet on the card. So, it could just be one of those things where it might not be as easy to get things off the ground with this person as it seems. Maybe for some of you, there could be a large physical distance between the two of you, so that could be a potential hurdle that you guys have had to overcome. All right, and the future energy on their side, we have the Five of Swords. So yeah, this is actually Aquarius energy here, and in the traditional tarot, it definitely seems to point to like a energy of where you get into these ego conflicts where there's nothing really productive that's going to come out of them, but you still engage in them anyway, where it's like a win at all cost type of energy. Now, I will say in this deck, though, this points more to actually just taking a chance. It doesn't have as much of a negative connotation to it in this deck in particular. So for some of you, could just be pointing to them, taking the opportunity. So if you do come around toward them and you suggest that you want something more formal, this could be them actually taking that chance toward you. But I do have to say, for some of you, this could take the more negative spin toward that, which is to say, like I said, it looks like in the past they were very open. You might have blown them off because you had your own thing going on, and now in the present, we see it looks like they might want to make you work for it a little bit, right? So seeing this in the future could just, the only warning I would have toward that is to say that maybe they're being a bit manipulative to get what they want, right? So it could very well be that they want exactly that from you, which is a more formal, traditional commitment, but the way they might go about it might be a little bit shady. That's the only thing I would say. So there's something to look out for there, right? And I mean, I'm sure you guys will pick up on it. So, for example, if you realize in the past that you didn't handle it too well, you might be a bit open to, okay, I understand if I come back, they're probably going to make me work for it a bit, re-earn their trust or whatever, right? But, just be on the lookout for them potentially trying to take it overboard, All right. Bottom of the deck on your side, we have the Eight of Coins. So this is Virgo energy here, and on the one hand, it could just be saying that you guys are going to have a lot of focus on your finances here, but more than anything, I feel like this really represents you guys rebuilding yourselves, like I was talking about there. It looks like this Ten of Swords could have just been some heavy energy you guys have gone through, possibly even, I would go as far as to say, maybe even depression, right? And like I said there with that Prince of Staves and the Queen of Staves, to me that represents that coming back to yourselves, right? Moving toward that King energy, which you guys have. So that's how I'm seeing this for most of you. But yeah, there could be a mixture of focus on finances as well and trying to build something more stable. Of course, it could represent you guys putting in more work toward repairing the connection as well. All right. At the bottom of the deck on their side, we have the Lovers. So this is a major arcana energy for Gemini, but also to me points to what I was feeling, which is to say I feel like they actually do want something with you as far as a formal commitment. But again, like I said, you just have to be on the lookout for them possibly going a bit overboard with making you work a little bit too much for it, depending on how things were left in the past, But that's what I see there. And timing wise, maybe you could get some movement with this person around the time of the Gemini full moon that we'll have in December. All right, so moving on to the Oracle cards. First, we'll see what we get from the Aqua Moonlight deck here. I did pre-shuffle this deck before we started recording. What I'm looking for here is some unspoken messages from you to them and from them to you. So we're going to look for jumpers first, and if nothing comes up, worst case, I'll just put the deck down and we'll pull a card, but we'll see what we get. Oh, got 2 there. All right, and next we'll see if we get any from them to you. Alright, so nothing's coming up, so what I'll do is I'll put the deck down and just give me a few seconds to tune in and we'll pull a card. Alright, take this one there and let's get this out of the way. Alright, so on your side, we have defensive. It says I'm not ready to talk. Oh, thought it was focused. There we go. It says I'm not ready to talk. I will only push you away. So, I mean, if anything, that certainly could have been the energy that you guys were in the past, which I could kind of see. Which, like I said, it seems like you guys just might have been going through something possibly completely unrelated to this person, but it could have just been impacting the relationship nonetheless. And maybe even to a certain extent, he might still be feeling that way a bit in the present, given that we see the Prince of Staves energy, his back is turned. But given that the Queen is beneath that, I feel like you guys will be coming out of that energy fairly soon. And we have Battle. Okay, it says, I've tried my best to move on, but I can't seem to let you go. So this energy here, I could also see that pointing to that Prince of Staves energy a bit, right? Where, like I was saying with the Sagittarius energy, again, not to stereotype them, but just the energy as a whole could be always on the move, right? Always on to the next thing. So that could have been the energy you guys were trying to take on. And then they could even just be saying that in the process of doing that, that could be what the Queen of Staves is, right? Coming to that realization that, okay, trying to move on to the next thing, right? Back turn, but now we see her turning back toward the cards on that side. And of course, that could be what leads you to eventually suggest to them a more formal commitment. All right, and on their side, we have freedom. It says, I can't be tied down right now. I have too many interests. So, interesting message there. Anything that would have felt more like the energy and the present on your side there, too. But with this, I mean, I'm not even seeing it as like they have a lot of interest necessarily. I have to say it because we already mentioned that that energy was potentially there. Be on the lookout for this person to try to put that energy out there, right? To give that perception, like, oh yeah, oh you're back around, but now I'm too busy for you. You know what I mean? Like one of those petty type things, quite frankly. Hey, they just have to be careful and hope that doesn't backfire on them. Because, like I said, with that Lover's energy, I do feel like they genuinely do want the same thing that you do, but depending on how the situation was left off in the past, they might just want to make you work for it a little bit, you know? And I feel like, in a way, that message seems to support that. I mean, for some of you, maybe they genuinely are in that mode, but the cards in particular don't seem to directly point to that. So that's why I'm feeling it might be the other situation. All right. And lastly, pull a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. Same situation here as far as I pre-shuffled this deck as well. Oh, already got a card. That was easy enough. Well, what I was going to say is, except we were just going to get one card here with general advice to wrap the reading up, and it already came up. And it's Unfinished Symphony. There's the artwork, and the number is 10. Trying to think if you guys might have gotten this last month as well. I'm pretty sure the title for your reading last month, at the very least, was Lacking Closure. So maybe that's one thing you got this card, but it's possible you guys got this for November as well. So if you haven't seen that one yet, you might want to check that reading out. but we'll see what it says. Okay, it says unfinished business, an incomplete lesson, lack of closure, the need to make amends. The Oracle's message. This is the time to tie up loose ends as you near the completion of a cycle or project and mastery of a lesson or skill. Before you can move forward, it's important that you come to terms with where you are now. Practice radical acceptance. Take inventory so that emotional and psychological closure can occur and the answers you seek will be found. You can't move forward if you are leaving things unfinished. Reflect on what has passed so the symphony can finally end on a high note. So, pretty positive message there. And talking about the completion of a cycle or project, for some of you, this could even just point to, especially with that 8 of coins at the bottom of the deck, maybe this was just you had a lot of other things going on and you just couldn't really put energy toward the relationship at the time. But hopefully that resonates with you. The relationship message says moving on is difficult when love lingers, things are left unsaid, and you haven't had the opportunity for closure in your relationship and in your heart. You can still feel bound up in relationships when closure is denied you. It's important to achieve this for yourself. Write that letter, make that call, or have that conversation over a cup of coffee. For peace of mind, accept matters as they are, make amends if need be, and declare your feelings, even if only to yourself. Be clear about what was left unresolved, and close the door on the past so you can set yourself free. Only then can new love blossom. So, pretty positive message there as well. And since, like I said, I have a feeling that this might have come up for you guys last month too, I will read the protection message just in case you guys might get something from that too. All right, and that says, when unfinished business casts a shadow over your life, it is a reminder that procrastination is a form of self-sabotage. It is not in your best interest to stall. Even stumbling forward is better than holding back. Don't overthink things or let yourself get distracted. Just tie up any loose ends and deliver the results. Don't quit before the finish line. Spirit wants you to win. So hopefully those messages resonated with you guys. We'll wrap up there and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.